Hi, I'm Geneva and this is Cozy Game Journal. The saga continues with the 8bitdo Ultimate C wired controller and its recurring stick drift issues. It's not really surprising. I did say in the last video that I didn't know if the fix was permanent, and I'll kind of explain why in this video. So looking at the box on the left, check out the crosshairs, you're going to see how they kind of, especially when I push up, they tend to drift back down towards the center. Left and right seem to be fine, but up and down it tends to want to move. And that's similar to the issue that we had before, that I sprayed the electronics cleaner in and it didn't actually fix it. I'm going to explain why. So as I'm talking, you'll just see me fixing the controller, and then I'm just going to give some thoughts on repairs in general, as well as why I think this issue is recurring. So if you watched the previous video, you'll remember that when I opened up the controller, it was very clean, and inside the analog, I popped open one of the clips on the potentiometer and I sprayed some electronics cleaner in there. This can help fix issues if the reason it's not working is because there's a lot of grime or dust or hair, and that cleaner, as you rotate the analog, will kind of clean some of that stuff out. I didn't think it was going to be a permanent fix because it was very clean. I was surprised that it even appeared to work in the first place, and now that it's started to have the issues again, I kind of think maybe that wasn't really the main cause and there's some other fault in there. So I'm going to take the controller apart again and I'm going to try another fix. Having a repair not be successful can be pretty discouraging, but in this case I was already prepared, and that's just part of the testing, really. Every time you put it back together and you test it, you're verifying that something did or didn't work. So it's just really more information, so it's not too discouraging, and it's always good practice. The next thing I'm going to try, because the vertical axis on the crosshairs in that little box you saw were mostly the issue, I didn't see any issue with the left and right. I'm going to take one side of the analog stick and replace just the one potentiometer. A couple of reasons. One, because it's that much less to solder. Two, I like to salvage parts from other controllers, and if it only needs one part, why waste the other one? It's not just that it's less soldering, it's that if you don't have like a hot air gun, it's going to be a lot more difficult to get the entire analog stick off. You can cut it with some flush cutters, and then you could remove all the solder with some wick or a solder sucker and potentially do it that way, but it's going to be a lot more work. And usually there's not a lot of issues unless something's cracked with the stick itself. That box that holds the two arms and the analog stick, they don't usually have any issue. In this case, it's just the potentiometer that I suspect, so I'm going to remove it and put on a new one. Back in the video here, you're going to see that I'm heating up the 3 pins on that one side of the potentiometer. Another thing to be aware of is that metal conducts heat, so if you're heating up one side and you're holding onto something metal on the other side, that heat's going to be transferred at some point, and you could burn yourself that way, so be careful. Next, I'm going to take the wick, solder wick, which is just braided copper, really fine wires, sometimes with flux in it, and that just wicks up all that solder once it's molten form, and that'll clear out those holes, because if I just left it, obviously I'm not going to be able to slip the new part into those holes, because it would be filled with solid material. Unfortunately, I forgot to turn on the camera, or I turned it off, something happened, and I don't have the video of me actually soldering on the new part. It looked basically like the same one I took out, except for it was black. I took it off another controller, I popped it in the 3 holes, and then I added solder onto those. Now we're going to the testing screen, and I'm wiggling it all around, making sure, you can see me flicking that stick to make sure it snaps back to the center and doesn't drag on or stay in one position too long. And it seems to have worked, so we're going to move on from there. Right here you can see that metal side, I just flipped it inside out. That's what makes contact. The arm of the analog stick goes through a hole in that, and as you rotate that stick, it's turning that wiper. Looking in there, I'm definitely no expert. I don't see anything really alarming. The other thing I've noted about trying to fix stick drift with cleaner is I don't have a personal experience where it has ever fully worked back to restore it 100%. I have on older controllers used it, and it greatly improved it. There was a little bit of issue, but enough where it didn't really matter, like if I was playing Jak and Daxter on the PS2 or something, it was pretty minor. But I've never had a situation where it fully fixed it, and often it seems to work for a while and then come back. And even this fix, again, like I said, I don't know if there was just a defect in that part that I replaced, but you know, I'm no expert on electronics. Maybe there's something else that's still wrong with it. And yeah, I'll just keep playing with it and I'll keep updating. And I think the benefit of doing a video like this is that it adds to the collective knowledge of repairs. Hopefully this is helpful to someone out there. I noticed that there was a little bit of marker that I had never cleaned off, and so I figured I kind of had a feeling before that I was going to take the controller apart again, so I didn't clean it then. I'm doing it now, because hopefully this is a more permanent fix. Finally, just testing it out on Skyrim once again. I went back to the same save. Everything seems to work fine here. Anyway, thanks for watching. Again, I hope that this information was a little bit useful to someone, or at least entertaining. Nailed it.